I'm Mary SHEEBA, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications. Today we're going to discuss about the topic XML. In that introduction, HTML and XML difference, syntax rule, declaration, tags and elements, attributes. These are the subtopics we're going to discuss. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It is a software and hardware independent tool for storing and transporting data. XML is a markup language much like HTML, and it was designed to be self-descriptive. So self-descriptive in the sense the user can create their own tags for describing their program. So according to the content, they can create their own tags and they can describe the data according to their wish. So there are three important characteristics in XML. The first one is it is extensible. So XML usually defined as extensible markup language because it allows the user to create their own self-descriptive tags based on their application. So whatever tags suits to their application, they can write the code according to it. So XML carries the data but does not present it. So usually XML is mainly useful for storing the data and transporting the data, whereas HTML will concentrate on the structural part. So it will not concentrate, the XML will not concentrate on the data, how it is going to be presented on the screen. It is mainly helpful in storing the data and implementing the data. So, and the last characteristics, it is a public standard or open standard. It is developed by an organization called World Wide Web Consortium, that is W3C. The difference between XML and HTML were designed with different goals. XML was designed to carry data with a focus on what data is, whereas HTML was designed to display the data with a focus on how the data looks. So HTML mainly focus on the structural part. XML tags are not predefined in the sense it is not inbuilt like a HTML tags. So here the user are allowed to create their own tags. An XML documents forms a tree structure. So tree structure in the sense it's going to have some root element as well as child element and even a subchild element also, like tree and the branches to the leaves. So comparatively parent-child combination can be assigned for this XML. So this is one of the basic example for XML. So in the following XML document, the message is considered as a root element and to, from, subject and text these are the child elements. So always the XML code will start with a version and encoding type. Then the tags created by the user should always have the root element. So here for this example, the root element is message, and inside the message the other four tags are treated as a child of this message tag. So to, from, subject and text are the child tags of the message. So for defining the XML code, there are certain rules to be followed. So the following diagram depicts the syntax rules to write different types of markup and text in XML document. So the first one is XML declaration is very important. So what kind of version we are using and what kind of encoding type we are using in our code should be mentioned as a first line in the code. and if there is any references should be given with proper syntax, and whatever tags we are defining, that also should follow certain rules. And even for attributes and for defining the text, there are some syntax rules to be defined. So first one is XML declaration. So always this will be considered as the start line of the document. So it should be placed at the start of an XML document. So it informs XML software about the version of the XML and the character encoding scheme used in the document. So either the first pattern can be given like XML, then version equal to 1.0. So what version we are using, that should be defined. And the second pattern is included with encoding type. So UTF 8-bit encoding we are using here. So both the statements are valid statements, either this or that, anything can be used as a first statement of the XML document. And the syntax rule for XML declaration. So for declaring the XML, there is a separate rule. So it is a case sensitive, must begin with the XML tag, where XML should be written in the lowercase. So all the tags are treated as case sensitive. So if we are defining the tag with a like capital letters, that should be ended with a capital. So otherwise it is treated as a different tags. So if the document contains an XML declaration, then it strictly needs to be the first statement of the XML document. So always a document should have the XML line, like a version, defining the version line should be the first statement of the XML document. And for defining the elements, for defining the tags, always it's a best practice to keep the paired tags. So when a tag is open, definitely it should get closed at the end of the content, or in some cases the tags can be of like a single tag, unpaired tag, but it should be ended with a forward slash. So either this pattern or this pattern, anything can be followed. So next is nesting of elements. An XML element can contain multiple XML elements as its children, but the children element must not overlap. So the one criteria here is the user can use multiple child elements, child tags, but it should not get overlap. It should be properly opened and closed. So this is the one criteria we should concentrate while nesting of elements. Next is root element. XML document can have only one root element. So always the user must concentrate on this particular portion. Whenever they write a code, they must check whether the entire code have only one root element. So the following code has X and Y. So these two things will be taken as a separate root. So this is the wrong condition, and this will not be supported for the XML structure. Whereas the last portion of the page contains a single root tag, and inside a single root tag there's a two child tag called X and Y. So this is the right one. So the next one is case sensitive. So all the XML elements or tags of the XML should be case sensitive. So if the user opens a tag with a capital letters, definitely it must end with a capital. The name of the start and the end element need to be exactly the same case. So here an example is given here. Here the book, in that B is given as a capital, but when the user is closed with a small b, it is treated as a different tag. It is mismatched. Then attributes. An attribute specifies a single property for the element using a name and the value pair. So XML can have any number of attributes, but the condition here is each and every attribute should have two things. One is name and other one is value. And all the elements can have one or more attributes. So each and every tag in the XML can have multiple attributes. So in this example, the student is treated as the root tag. So inside the root tag, there are some child and subchilds. So here names is the child tag and boys and count these are the subchilds. And the name tag contains an attribute called boys ID equal to sample. So here the boys ID is a name and the sample is the value. So this attribute has two things called name and value pair, which is separated by a symbol equal. So similarly, the other set of child tag contains a girl's ID with the value sample1. So for the name tag, the subchilds are girls and the count. So the entire code has a single root called student.